Hey, welcome back. Today I want to talk about what it's like to work in an agile development team. We said in a previous episode that we plan our next sprint, our next iteration, where we are working on hopefully valuable stories, user stories that we commit to be able to deliver at the end of the sprint. And during the sprint, we are meeting basically at least once every day in the daily Scrum meeting to talk about what we have accomplished yesterday. Each team member does that. What have I accomplished yesterday? What I'm planning to accomplish today? And is there anything that's keeping me from, being able to accomplish that? Are there any impediments? Are there any roadblocks in my way? That I need to let the others know about, and maybe I need some help actually removing these roadblocks. Maybe I need a special kind of hardware, a test device. Maybe I need a license for a specific tool that I want to use. So whatever it is, I bring this up in the daily Scrum. But then that's basically it. Everything else is pretty much organized by the team itself. They're going to decide whether they need additional meetings, who shall attend these meetings, in order to accomplish what they committed themselves to accomplish that sprint. So the question is, what happens at the end of the sprint? After these typically 2, 3, maybe sometimes 4 weeks, but we have a fixed length that we're going to repeat again and again. So let's say it's 2 weeks. And the answer to what happens after that sprint is finished, is, there's 2 meetings basically that end the sprint. The first one is the sprint review, sometimes called sprint demo, and the other one is the sprint retrospective. So let's talk about these 2 meetings now. The sprint review's purpose is to sit together, basically the whole team and stakeholders, at least the product owner, but maybe also other stakeholders that are interested in the project, that are sort of where the product owner is the spokesperson for. But everybody's sitting together, and the team presents the results of the last sprint. So basically, what they have been working on and what they have finished, and what's potentially shippable. That's also an important thing. We agree in Scrum that we work on stuff that's valuable to the customer, to the end user, and that usually means that it's not enough to have written some code, but it's not integrated, it's not running on a demo system, it hasn't been tested, it hasn't been documented. Usually these things go into the quote-unquote definition of done. That means the team and the stakeholders agree on what it means that a user story, a piece of functionality is considered being done. And at the end of the sprint, in the sprint review meeting, in the sprint demo meeting, which is the same thing, just 2 different words of it, sprint review or sprint demo. The team presents the stories that have been done, and maybe also talks about the stuff that they couldn't finish, but that should be actually the exception than the rule. They present their work to the stakeholders, to their progress towards the product goal, discuss that. And the stakeholders can ask questions, and the team can respond to that, of course. It's communication, basically, about the project, about the current state of the project, what has been achieved, what has been finished, and can we draw any conclusions? Do we need to change anything in our backlog, in our list of stuff that we want to continue working on, or that we just want to tackle in the next couple of sprints? Does the output of the current sprint change that plan? Because if you remember, Agile is all about, being agile, meaning we don't make a plan 2 years ahead of time and just follow that plan blindly. We want to be able to see what's been done in these 2-week sprints, and then we want to be able to react on it. Maybe we see something that we didn't expect, and that changes things, changes priorities. Maybe we come to a technological hurdle that we don't really know how to work across, and we need to talk about that. Maybe that changes things. Maybe we found something and we see something presented in that sprint review, sprint demo meeting, where we say, oh, okay, that's already actually quite enough for me for the moment, for a certain piece of the software. I thought I need much more, but right now actually I see that, well, this is working and enough already, so we can concentrate on a different part. So maybe we skip and remove some stories that we had planned before, but while seeing the actual result, we come to the conclusion, no, it's actually not necessary right now. We're going to postpone a couple of stories to a later date, or maybe don't do them at all, and we do something else in the next sprint. Okay, so that's all basically the idea of that sprint review, sprint demo meeting, where we say we take a look at what's been done, and then we see whether that has any implications, any consequences on the product backlog, meaning my list of things that will be working on next. So that's the sprint review meeting. That's the second to last event of the sprint. It's usually, as all the meetings in Scrum, is time boxed, meaning we have a fixed set where the meeting begins, and then a fixed duration after the meeting ends. And that can't be changed. If we found out something that we want to discuss in more detail, we need to set up a separate meeting, maybe not with the whole bunch of people, but just a few ones that are necessary. But yeah, the meetings are time boxed. So then the very last meeting is the sprint retrospective. And this is where the team talks about ways that how they were working together, and maybe things that they want to change in order to increase the quality of the output that's being produced, of the code that's being produced, and also the effectiveness of the team. So basically, the team inspects itself. It goes into this retrospective mode, and there's all kinds of structured ways to lead this meeting, or to come to a productive output of that meeting. One typical way, but a very simple way, would be to ask 3 questions, like what has been working in the last sprint, what didn't work, and what action items, what decisions and actions do we deduce from these 2 things that were working and that didn't work, and maybe we want to change something. Okay, and there's all kinds of retrospective games, quote unquote, is like a structured way to lead that meeting in order to make it as valuable as possible. Because we want to know what's been going on in the last 2 weeks. Remember, transparency is one of the big values in Scrum, in Agile in general. And we want to be honest with ourselves and see where we had some shortcomings, see where we had some maybe miscommunication, see and identify where we didn't have information that was necessary, or we had some external dependencies. We were waiting for somebody else and to do something, and that didn't really happen. And we were stalled at the moment. So that's what happens in the sprint retrospective. The team identifies what the way that they were working in the last sprint, and what they can do to improve their effectiveness, what they want to change in the next sprint, and what they want to try out, and maybe also how they will find out whether that what they want to try out was actually successful, was leading them to a more positive outcome, or whether it didn't really change that much. Okay, so these are the 2 meetings that end the sprint review demo meeting and the sprint retrospective. So what's next? Well, the end of one sprint is the beginning of the next sprint. So we can again start the next sprint more or less immediately with the sprint planning meeting. And yes, there's a lot of meetings involved, but it's really just in this time frame where we end one sprint and start the next sprint. And everything else fixed is just daily Scrum meetings. So we've got this sprint change meetings. Sort of put together into a period of time, like in 1 or 2 days, where we end the current sprint with the demo and the retrospective meeting, and then we start and plan the next sprint, starting with the sprint planning meeting.